it's true, nigga. Cool y'all. Go to grab, 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 go to grab. It's all about that warfare, boy. Give grab, give grab, give grab, back up, give grab, give grab, give grab, back up, give grab, give grab. It's all about that warfare, boy. Take grab, 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 take grab. My soldiers take grab till them stand down. Take grab, take grab, take grab, take grab, take grab, take grab, take grab. My soldiers take grab till them stand down. Oh, thought you could cross us with no consequence, but you will pay dearly. You should've used your common sense. My seal lit, that means you could never prevail. Hey, where the truth sit, hey, where warriors dwell. Be wise with them weapons, cause I promise. My nine just like my wife, she concealed, she modest. I know two things, a robber will not prosper. And any man harm me and my octave gon' meet the doctor. Cause this life is warfare, it's not an easy walk. Been watching my people die so you can miss me with that love talk. My UPK soldiers, any man try to cross your path, make him regret it. What that mean? Fall on his ass. Comparing me to you really ain't no contest. Long live one West. Say what? Long live one West. This for those who thinking we ain't ready for. Tell them back up. I'm about to drop something heavy for. Go to grab, 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 go to grab. It's all about that warfare, boy. Give grab, give grab, give grab, back up, give grab, give grab, give grab, back up, give grab, give grab. It's all about that warfare, boy. Take grab, 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 take grab. My soldiers take grab till them stand down. Take grab, take grab, take grab, take grab, take grab, take grab, take grab. My soldiers take grab till them stand down.
Test 1, 2. 2, 2, 2. 2. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. The Lord said, confession good for the soul. So right now,
all I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, but I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster.
Test 1, 2, 1, 2. Accidentally muted myself. Let me make sure this is Tawab. Just bear with me just a moment. Salakia. Yeah. I don't think we got any cups up. But check the maybe in there, but you know I'm not too sure. We gotta grab some. Most High in Christ, man. All right, clap it up. Most High in Christ, shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatah to all my brothers. Yahweh Shemar Al Athah Bahashem Yahweh Shah to all my sisters. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Durham, North Carolina. The Triangle, Raleigh, North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? ISUPK. I'm the Commanding General Yohana. You know what I'm saying? Start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. All right. And of course, this is the Friday night LASHAWAN QADASH class, the language class. All right. We do this every Friday. Priest and officer of 500 Dabawan. Yahawada holding it down. You know what I mean? what I'm saying, rocking out with my brother, Officer 50 Yanazar, and just doing what we usually do. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue into the next leg. So we decided after a few weeks of some real heavy topics, so in terms of more complex, you know what I'm saying, sentence structure and things like that, to go back way back to the basics. Okay, and so what we've been doing is just looking at the alphabet and looking at learning a few words in alphabetical order. You know what I'm saying? And how to just write words and use connectors. So we're gonna do the same thing today. Matter of fact, let's see. So again, I'm gonna leave that. I can erase this though. I can erase this Ayan Debar. We'll see about the connector part. I might erase that as well, but one thing I do want to do is we're just gonna break down Hebrew greetings, right? And we're gonna actually, I don't think believe it or not, I don't think we've ever done that. Not me teaching. In terms of, we broke down the Hebrew greetings, but writing them out, what they would look like written out in Hebrew. Okay, so we'll do a little bit of that. Also, we're going to go ahead and look at some words, beginning with the letter, with the da. All right. Words that begin with the da. We might be able to get into a little bit of some words that begin with ha as well. But yeah, these are basically the two things that we're gonna do today. We're gonna get these Hebrew greetings down, and we're gonna focus, I don't wanna say we're not gonna show the meaning, but we're not gonna get too much into syntax and sentence structure as much as we're gonna get into writing it out. Oh, Salakia. That's the other thing I wanted to do. So actually, we'll do the alphabet again, but I wanna actually detailed alphabet, meaning I want to show how to write these letters, right? Like, so say the da, right? When you write a da, what should it look like? What's a good way to say? We can describe it as a triangle, right? Because it is a triangle, right? Right, and then when we describe, let's say how we write the ya, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna kind of go into the shape, you know what I'm saying? And just get a little more detail so that way when everybody's at home writing it out, they kind of have a better idea of what they should look for, what it should look like on the page, right? So we'll get into that. So detailed alphabet, and then the last thing we'll do is words beginning with da. Everybody Tawab? What's name Christ? Yanazar, if you could, Bob Kushah, give me the joint in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus. Get me that one. And if you also could get me the one, give me Tongue of Angels. Give me those two. I always like to start with some scriptures before we dive into today's topic. Again, if it's your first time seeing this class, then you'll notice the phrase LASHAWAN, QADASH, which we have written right here. Hope you can see it. We just broke it down right here. This is it written in the ancient Hebrew. Well, actually, it's just the word LASHAWAN, Salakia. So I didn't write QADASH. No sweat, I'll write it right now. So this would be QADASH in ancient. That's QADASH in ancient. That's QADASH in Assyrian. All right, LASHAWAN, QADASH. LASHAWAN, of course, means tongue, right? Or in this context, it translates as language. QADASH means holy. And of course, holy does not mean tambourines or, you know what I'm saying, three-piece suits, alligator shoes. It doesn't mean a dance around the congregation. It doesn't mean water that you pray over. Holy means separate or set apart. You understand? So, Yanazar, you got that? Oh, let me get you the. I gave you the other mic, right? No, I got you. Like, I got it. Okay. Okay.
Okay, this is the prologue of Ecclesiasticus.
Right, the prologue of Ecclesiasticus. Okay, go ahead.
For the same things uttered in Hebrew.
For the same things uttered in what?
Hebrew.
For the same things uttered in Hebrew. Read on.
And translated into another tongue.
So it was uttered in Hebrew. It was spoken in Hebrew. It was originally written in Hebrew, but it got translated into another tongue, right? Tongue, of course, we know means language. Even in older or in Quaker English, old Quaker English, right? Tongue would be a word used to describe a language. That's why when you read the Bible and it says, speak tongues, it's not talking about hashkila babala, you know what I'm saying, humana. It's actually talking about speaking different languages. Go ahead.
But, Salakia, have not the same force.
Have not the same what?
Force.
No, it's fine to read it in the other language.
Have not the same force.
No, it doesn't make any difference.
Same force.
It doesn't have the same force after it's been translated to another tongue. Go ahead.
In them, and not only these things.
Right, it doesn't have the same force in the new language. Go ahead.
But the law itself.
And not just these things that you're about to read, but the what?
The law itself.
So you mean to tell me we got to read the Old Testament in Hebrew as well?
Come.
The law itself.
To really understand.
Right, read on.
And the prophets.
So you got to read Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy in Hebrew. Then you got to read Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st, 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, all the way up. You got to read all that in Hebrew. Go ahead.
And the rest of the books.
Right. Chronicles, Kings, all of that. Go ahead.
Have no small difference.
There's no small difference. You have to go to the source to understand it. You know what I'm saying? So it would be very wise. You know what I'm saying? Salaki, in fact, let me get my concordance just so they can see it. Bear with me, y'all. Just take me 1 second. Salaki. So this right here, a great tool. You know what I'm saying? You want to get you one of these. You know what I'm saying? There's different ones. This is the one I use, Strong's. Right, I like this one. Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible. You know what I mean? See, you can actually just go to an English word that you're trying to find, and it shows you all the times that English word is used. The beauty of it is it also shows you the different Hebrew words it corresponds with, right? So if we look, so right here, you see the word for cut, right? And you already, I can see H33772, H3582, H5408, H7112, like already 4 or 5 different Hebrew words, right? Different Hebrew words that the translators decided the word cut was appropriate to use contextually for that word. You know what I'm saying? Again, because just like in this bastard tongue called English, our language, context matters, right? The same word doesn't always mean the exact same thing. It has a basic, number one definition, but there are going to be times where it's used in different contexts. For example, LASHAWAN. You know what I'm saying? LASHAWAN literally means tongue. Like the organ in your mouth is LASHAWAN. but in context, it can mean language, right? Just like how it's used in English. All right, but read that again from the top of that part.
Khan. For Salakia. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the Lord self and the prophets and the rest of the books
So the
have
whole
no small
goddamn
difference.
Bible, you know what I'm saying? You got to, well, at this time, there's no New Testament. You know what I mean? So you got to go to the Hebrew with all of the old, you know what I'm saying, the Old Testament, so-called Old Testament, the books from Genesis all the way through Micah. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, same thing with the New Testament, but the New Testament, the original manuscripts we have are in Greek, which makes sense. So some fake Israelite tells you, well, you know, why you reading that New Testament? The New Testament was written in Greek. It wasn't even written in Hebrew. Who the hell gives a damn when you consider it would be like me writing a book today? What language am I going to write it in?
English.
Does that mean that I'm from England? Does it mean that I am a white man? Does it in any way change what I might be writing about or the information that I'm giving out because it happens to be in this language? No. Greek was the language of the time, of the day. You know what I'm saying? The Greeks really had united the West. When you hear the word Western civilization, it was the Greeks who began that. Remember who was the man who you can give most of that credence to say he really started that unification? Go ahead. Alexander the what?
The Great.
The Greek. So that's why Greek was the language of the day, and that's why the New Testament is translated originally from Greek. So don't let fake Israelites get you off your game. Any more on that, brother? Khan, drop that. Give me the one.
Corinthians 13 and 1.
Khan, Baba Kushar real fast, just to understand the magnitude. So now we know how important it is to read it in the original language, to actually have a Hebrew class, right? And now let's get some more on how heavy this language is, real fast. You got that, brother? Go ahead and read it.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1. Though I speak with the tongues of men.
Who's speaking here?
The Apostle Paul.
The Apostle Paul. He's writing the letter, so we're in 1 Corinthians, right? Why is it called Corinthians? Go ahead.
Because it was addressed to the Israelites in Corinth.
Right, in Corinth, right, which was a city, you know what I'm saying? It was a city, I guess you could say, within the Roman Empire, you know what I mean? But exactly where, I think it actually would be today, like modern day Turkey, I think is where it would be. But it was within the empire, and it's this city, right? Or you could say Asia Minor, right? The city Corinth. And Paul is writing a letter to one of the schools that he's over. This school is in Corinth, right? And he said to them, read it.
Though I speak with the tongues of men.
He's writing this because he's trying to give them a lesson or a breakdown. Now tomorrow, every officer in the ISUPK is supposed to be where? In the major council, right? Every officer, of course, unless you got the slave or something, you have to get an excused absence. You got to talk to your camp leader, get that squared away. But if you're available, then of course, you're supposed to go to your respective school, you know what I'm saying? And we are going to be in a major council. In other words, the generals are going to address every single school in the ISUPK is going to be addressed. They're going to be asked to give a report on what they've been doing or what have you. You understand? That's what it is. Now, we're reading about Paul, who's over these schools, and he's breaking something down to them to get them to understand something. Because again, they didn't have Zoom calls back then. They didn't have Skype. They didn't have that. So they had to send letters. That's how they corresponded. So he's talking to the men under him in the city of Corinth. Go ahead.
And of angels.
So he's saying to them, he's breaking down brotherhood to them. He's breaking down charity. And he said, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, which tells you what? The tongues of men in the QADASH.
It tells you what tongues of men are the different languages spoken
Obviously.
within the empire.
Of course.
And the tongues of angels is the language which the angels spoke to the Israelites in.
Right. But it also, right, that is the language, but if someone tries to say that it's some kind of special language that no one else knows, or is only spoken of by, because it's the language of angels, and they're all angelic beings, so it's only spoken of in the heavens, we know that's not true. Why? Because Paul said he spoke it, and he's a person, right?
Israelite at
An
that.
Israelite at that. You know what I'm saying? Read on.
And have not charity.
Right, but he doesn't have charity. Go ahead.
I am become as sounding brass.
So if he spoke all these languages, it can break all these scriptures down and everything. That's the real gist of it. It doesn't matter. But the Hebrew, the LASHAWAN QADASH, is the language of angels. It's the tongue of angels. You understand? It's the set apart language. LASHAWAN QADASH, meaning the holy language. Okay? Give me Zephaniah 2 and 1, last one, and then we'll get into this. Get right into it.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
Right, so this is what it all comes down to. This is what it's all about. The Bible, the Most High, said, gather yourselves together. Go ahead.
Yea, gather together, O nation, not desired.
He told us that we need to gather together because we're a what? A nation that's not desired. A nation has a language. A nation has a culture. A nation has customs. A nation has a God. And we need to bring it all together. In the ISUPK, that's exactly what we do. We bring all of these things together. We go out there and bring our people back to our God. We bring our people back to our culture. We bring our people back to our language. You know what I'm saying? That's the weight of Zephaniah 2 and 1. Gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. Any more on that? You don't got to read before the decree.
No, that's it.
Kind of, that's it. No sweat. Most High in Christ. So this is all part of that process of gathering our nation back together. So last week, you know what I'm saying, we did the alphabet. We're going to do it again today, a little more detailed. And we got into Ga. So the third letter of the Hebrew alphabet is the Ga. What's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet? Second letter. Ba. And the third letter is Ga. And so we learned some words that begin with the Ga. We learned the word Gamal, which means camel. And here it is written in the ancient Ga, Ma, La. In the Assyrian, Ga, Ma, and La. Okay? Then we also learned the word Gadol, right? Gadol, which means great. Ga, da, la. Ga, da, la. Gadol. Last one we learned was Gad, which is one of the 12 tribes of Israel. It means a troop, right? And it's just the Ga and the Da connected together. Gad, right? Really, if you were to pronounce it in a more appropriate way, it would be like God because it's a short A sound. So while we say God in English, G-O-D, if you were actually speaking this, in the more consistent fashion, Gamal, Gadol, God is be the more appropriate pronunciation. But again, we niggas used to speaking another language. So sometimes our inflections are present in how we're speaking the language now. So we say Gad, you know what I'm saying? We say Gad, it's no big deal. You know what it is, all right? So now, let's do the, I'm gonna switch it. So like I did this backwards, no sweat. Is everybody too wild with this? Like we good here? Okay, no sweat. I'm gonna get rid of this and let's get this alphabet again. And we're gonna try to, go a little slow to make it clear exactly how it should be. I'm gonna leave these up here because we're gonna somewhat play this, if you wanna call it a game, again with the new words. Okay. All right. All right. So we'll do ancient first. Somebody describe the ah to me. How would you describe it? Go ahead.
I would describe it as a sideways A.
That's a great way to describe it. Probably the best way to describe it. So when you're writing the ah in ancient Hebrew, so you have the letter A, right? Just imagine like a very crude A that actually crosses over, almost like a compass, right? But imagine you're turning it, you understand, 90 degrees to the left, or 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay? So you're going to take the A, and you're going to turn it 90 degrees counterclockwise. You're going to lay it on its side. Pause. Ba, right? That's the ah. Okay? In ancient, right? So up here, we're going to do ancient. And down here, we're going to do Assyrian. Okay? So that's the ancient ah. Now the Assyrian ah, okay, this let's write it out and let's see how we can describe it. Now, again, when you're drawing an Assyrian ah, think of it like it's going to be one line and then two lines coming out of that one line. So one curved line like this. Okay? One curved line like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to create a stand on one side. And then on the other side, right? So right here, you kind of create a stand. Right here, you're going to just have like a little stalk that comes straight up and it has a top like that. It's lucky. Okay? So it's one curved line and then a stand that matches this, and then like a stalk with a top on the right side. All right? This is the Assyrian ah. Everybody understand? That makes sense? So now, the ancient ba is like this. That's the ba, right? You could say, I don't think it really corresponds to any English letter. You know, it almost, unless it's like a really funky backwards E. You know, I could see that because the E is like, that's very ugly. But if I was to turn that around, shoot, I don't even know. I guess it would be like, yeah. So if you took a backwards E but just made it more pointy, Salaki, right? Then that would be something like a ba. You know what I'm saying? So that's one way to look at it. But the ba, ancient, is like a half circle, and then this little triangular, almost like this would be something like a 60-degree triangle inside of it, or connected to it. And that would be the ba. Make sense? Okay? Now, Assyrian. That's going to be a curve. So you're starting straight and you're curving down. Almost like you're about to write like a C, but instead of curving it all the way around, eventually you just kind of go straight down. You know what I'm saying? So that's, you know what I'm saying, how that works. Right? So you curve straight down and then you just give it like a stand that extends a little bit past the back of it. Okay? And that's going to be the Assyrian ba. So I'll write underneath, what I'm going to write underneath again, this word transliteration. I'm going to write the transliteration underneath so we know what is the proper pronunciation and we'll be familiar of it when we see it in words. So this is the ah. This is the ba. All right. Now we'll do the ga. The ga, it's just like a angle, you know. It's just like a little angle going like diagonally up to the right and then diagonally down to the right. Simple. Okay? Then the ga in the Assyrian is a little funky. Think of it like a I'm trying to think. Whoever played Hangman? How do you in Hangman? Don't you have to draw like? It's like something like a. Like that. Right, but then you draw the hangman something like this, right? Right. So mine is that part. You get the top is going to be like this, like you're about to draw a hangman. You're gonna just kind of go across, down, right? Just like a little 90-degree angle, but then you're gonna give it like a little upside down cup shape. So, you understand? An upside down cup shape like that, and that's essentially the ga in the Syrian. Ga. Ba ga da. Simple one. Simple one in the ancient is just going to be like a triangle as such. Right? A da. Right? And why we know this one, because this is of course where we get what? What comes from this? The Magun Dawada, right? Slakia. This symbol, right? People they think it's the Star of Molech because they don't know the Bible. This is the Magun Dawada, the shield of David. It's just a da, wa, which means end. Da. It's just two das on top of each other. It's the signet, you know. It's like, okay, it's like if I write this, let's see who knows what this is. It's a little crude, but y'all might not be able to pick up on it because it's, you know, it's not written the way it is actually on this thing. I'll give you a hint. It's two R's. It's something that none of y'all got. None of us have. It's a Rolls Royce. This is the symbol for Rolls Royce. Right. That thing that we all wish we had, most of us do not have, right? It's just a symbol. Those two R's on top of each other is the symbol for Rolls Royce. This was King David's signet, right? When he signed something, when he stamped something, it was like when people saw this symbol, when other nations, if it was some kind of documentation, you know what I'm saying? When they saw this, they knew, oh snap. Okay, King David signed this. All right. So that's where that da comes from. The da in Assyrian is literally just a line up top, then you come back in a little bit, and then you curve down before you don't go to the middle. You kind of stay a little bit to the right, and you curve down. You follow me? That make sense? Okay, and that's the da. Okay, smooth. Everybody follow me so far? Am I making sense? If there's anybody you need me to back up and kind of explain something, let me know. All right. What was that? Yeah. Abagada. The ha. The ha is essentially a backwards F with like an extra one. That's the ha. Simple and plain. And I'm saying backwards, it's not a backwards F. Remember, all of this stuff becomes thousands and thousands of years before there's an English alphabet, before the English language exists. You understand? Many, many years before. You understand? I'm just using these analogies to kind of make it plain. That's all. Salakia. All right. And in the ha, in in the Assyrian, is going to be a line, like a little short line on the left side. And then imagine like you writing like almost like an N, right? Like a something, not exactly, but like a lowercase n is like this, right? Or something like that. Like that's a lowercase n in English. Imagine you just disconnected it. And then you got a ha. You understand? Pretty much. So it's going to be that, and then you're just going to go start at the top, but give it a bit space because it's not going to connect. Start above it like you dot in the I, and go over and curve down. Ha. Okay? I'm going to go up to, maybe La. And then Yanazar, I want you to, if you could, show, because I know you got your handwriting better than mine. You got the damn, you know what I'm saying, the ancient, you know what I'm saying, the scripts, you know what I'm saying, the scribe type handwriting, right? So Abagada Ha Wa, the Wa in ancient is gonna again look, it's a Y. It's not Salakia, let me be clear. It's not a Y, but that is what it looks like. I'm trying to help my brothers and sisters who may have never seen these before. And so when you think of writing it, you'll have this concept in your mind. So you're going to write like a small U as the top part, and then a stalk or a stand like that. And that's the Wa. Okay? In Assyrian, the Wa is almost, guess something. In Assyrian, the Wa is almost like the Ga in ancient, but round and straight up. So it's like you go down, diagonal, and then you just round it until it's straight. Wa. Okay? These are the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. A, ba, ga, da, ha, wa. Who can guess what this one is? I'm sure y'all all already know. But that should help even a brother who's never seen this language before. He should see that and automatically assume it makes a certain sound. What sound is that? What sound should a brother or sister see this because they've seen this symbol before? And so it corresponds to exactly what they're thinking it is. Somebody just tell me what it is. Go ahead.
It's the za.
It's the za. Za. What a coincidence. It's not a coincidence at all. That's where the letter Z comes from. The entire alphabet comes from this. I mean, just, you know what I mean? 22 letters, I believe. A lot of other letters came later. The English alphabet has 26 letters. You know what I'm saying? But if you look up the history, again, we're not going to get into it too much. The history, we know that the word alphabet comes from Greek. 2 Greek words, alpha and beta. A, ba. The first 2 letters of the alphabet. A, ba. Alpha, beta. Right? And that the Greek language only has, I believe, 22 symbols. Because what is the last letter of the Greek alphabet? Please. Omega. The omega. But if you go English, omega corresponds to Q, I believe. Omega corresponds to the Q in the English alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q. What got left? R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Extra 9 letters. You understand? So 19 in the Greek alphabet. But I think there's because remember there's there's more because you got to think too as well. In the Greek alphabet, there's a letter that corresponds to like in Hebrew how we have the ta and the tha. They have the theta. I believe there's a theta and another letter corresponding to the ta. So there's still more letters. So don't get too confused. But in the English alphabet or in the Greek alphabet, the R and things like that, they're there, but they're before. Like they're not. Basically, it's not corresponding perfectly, but there are less letters in the Greek alphabet than in the English alphabet. The English alphabet has added certain letters. You understand? Like the what? Give me one that we all know. Everybody in this room should know one. Go ahead. The J. The J. That sound, and if you look at it, and this again, man, let me just say this, man. The ISUPK, man, Barakatah how Shah for Commander General Yohana in the ISUPK. Because what we do in here is break it down to all the way it's plain and clear. It's obvious that the J is a newer letter because if you listen to people who are used to speaking older languages, it's one of the letters they can't say. You ever notice that? You ever notice somebody who speaks, you ever notice somebody who speaks like Arabic or Sanskrit or Punjabi or some Indian language, right? There's certain letters they can't really say. One of them is like V. V is another new letter, new phonetic sound. There's no corresponding the sound in the ancient Hebrew because most older languages don't have it. They don't have a V, right? It's just a European thing. So an Indian man, it's hard for him to say Louis Vuitton. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for him. You go to even some Europeans, like they don't have, we say like a Russian name like Vladimir. But if you ever look at how they spell their names, it's always like, it's really like Vladimir. They don't say V. It's a new letter. J is one of them. Other languages don't really have a corresponding sound, and so they have a hard time saying. Listen to a Chinese man try to say some of these names. It'll kill him. He'll have like a stroke. You understand? So the Za, that's the ancient. The Za in Assyrian is just gonna be like almost like a little like downward to the right, little I don't want to say squiggly, but a little angular line like this, and then just a straight line down. And there you have the Za. Okay? Ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za. What's next? The Ha. Of course, in the ancient, it's a ladder. It's an H with some extra lines. The Ka. Or the Ka. You don't want to do too harsh. You don't want to say Ka. You know what I'm saying? The Ka. Ka. In Assyrian, this is actually going to be similar to the Ha, but imagine, like you, just two lines coming down. But imagine you take the H and you put it at the top, but it goes all the way across. Boom. The Ha. Ha. All right? And of course, the transliteration for this is like this. Aba, Gada, Ha, Wa, Za, Ha. All right? Next, we have a circle with an X in it. This is not the X-Men symbol. It may look like it, but this is way before any X-Men. This is the Ta. The Ta. It's kind of a tough one to describe in the Assyrian. In the Assyrian, it's like a U. Imagine like a U that is a U, right? But then you keep going, and on one side you bring it down a little bit, you curve it in. And on this side, you give it like a little top ceiling. And that would be the ta. Ta. Not to be confused with the tha, which is the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Okay? Everybody follow me? Come, Most High in Christ. Abba, Gada, Ha, Waza, Ka, Ta. What we got next? We got the Ya. This is an interesting one to describe. Y'all got to help me out. I think there's a few ways to describe this one in the ancient. What y'all think? What y'all think is a good way? How would you describe it, sis? How would you describe it? How would you describe the, yeah, this is the symbol for the Ya. Ya. How would you just, like if you had to tell somebody how to write it, how would you describe it? Mm-hmm. You could, yeah, that's one way, like a sideways Z with an extra line. You could also say a sideways F with like a diagonal bottom part. You know what I'm saying? Like you can say a sideways Z mixed with a sideways F. You know what I'm saying? You take a sideways F, you know what I'm saying? And you take a sideways Z and you say they, you know what I'm saying? That's a sister, that's a brother. They got together, you know what I'm saying? And they made this. Sounds about right to me. You know what I'm saying? That's one way to look at it. A sideways F and a sideways Z getting together and having a baby. And that's what it looks like. But this corresponds to, and again, in the Assyrian, it's even simpler. It's just like a really small right angle in the top right quadrant. So imagine each letter is almost like 4 quadrants. Okay, so in this space, in this box is where you draw the letter. Whatever letter you drawing, so that'd be the ta, you drawing it in this box. Whatever letter you drawing it in this box. So you draw the ya, where's it at? Okay, Bob, 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 ya. And these 4, and each one of them has, imagine 4 quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same here. Any letter you pick, you can do the ha. 4 quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And you say the ta in the Assyrian. Right? This is just the spacing. Right? Now with the ya, imagine the same thing. A box, 4 quadrants, and you're only going to utilize the top right quadrant. Okay? And that's how the Assyrian form of the ya is. It's just top right quadrant, a right angle. Boom. It's small. Boom. Slaki. And that is the ya. Okay? A, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ha, ta, ya. Then what we got next? Now we have the more aggressive, you know what I'm saying, sounding ka. Ka. I'll write this first. The ka. The beauty of this letter is that they look at least similar. You know, unlike a lot of these other ones where it's like, man, how the hell did they get to that? Because again, we were borrowing these symbols from another region, another language almost. So, the ka, and the beauty of this one is that this is another one where you can see, no pun intended. You can see where the relation is to what the modern form of it. You can see it somewhat. What is this? That's a K. What if I did this? It's a backwards K. What if I did this? That's a what? That's a Ka. It's like a backwards rounded K. All right? The Ka. And in the beauty is the Assyrian is at least similar. It's like a backwards C. A little more, it's a little more, not as much as circular, but, for the most part, you could say it's a backwards C. Again, when I say these English letters, do not confuse me for saying that they correspond to each one. I'm talking shape of the letters, because that's really what I wanted to go over with this part in this class. I know sometimes it's hard, even when you see it on the page, to articulate it, to know exactly how you're supposed to draw it. All of us are not, really good at drawing. I mean, I know I'm not. And just trying to mimic something. So it's good to kind of have an idea of what you should be going for when you draw these letters. Right? How many letters in are we? 11 letters. Abagadahawazahatayaka. Okay? What's next? One of my, what you got? My favorite one on one side, but my least favorite one on the other side. I'm going to explain. In the ancient it cannot get more easier than that. It can't get more easier than the La is an L. It's an L, straight up, like it's L. I mean, if you forget that one, Lord be with you. It's an L. It's a capital L. In the Assyrian, it is a funny shaped. It took me forever. It was the letter that I was like, okay, how am I gonna pass my test? You understand? Here's after a long time of trying to figure, like, I don't get it. The best way I can describe it is like you're drawing a 3, because think of how many pause strokes are in a 3. It's like, right? But imagine, there you go. Imagine you're taking this top stroke, pause, and you just kind of making it small. Then you're taking the second one, and instead of just going down, you're kind of going up and out a little bit. And you're coming back in, and you keep going, and you're dragging it all the way down. That's the best way I can describe it. So when it's all said and done, it's gonna look like a silly 3 that goes down really far. So it's like this little boop, then boop, like that. Does the 3 example make sense? Like, y'all follow me? Does that not working for you? It's a funky letter. Don't get me wrong. It's a funky letter, but that's it. It's a 3. It's a little top, bigger bottom, pause, drag down. You know what I mean? That's essentially what it is. You know what I mean? Little top, bigger bottom, drag down. You know what I'm saying? Almost like a question mark with a little extra loop. Maybe that helps too. Think of a question mark, but you just add a little loop at the top. You know what I'm saying? There's a few ways to describe it. I like the 3. That works for me. You know? And that's the La. Most High in Christ. All right, yo, so we got Abagada Kala. We need Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Taza. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I missed one. No, count, but Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Taza, Kwa, Ra, Sha, Da. Yanazar, my brother. So, we're going to keep up with the same. So, I'm going to just draw a little line here as not to confuse anyone, to separate it. And we're going to do the same thing. So, I'm going to have you just draw the next letter in ancient first. Okay? And then when I say so, you just do the Assyrian right under it, and then the transliteration. Smooth, smooth. Most High in Christ, the water. So now I'm going to have my brother, Officer 50 Yanazar, okay, do the same thing I did. Now, how would you describe this?
You could describe it as a W with a long ending.
You could, yeah, that's one way. It's like a W.
Or a V and a small N together.
Right. I would almost describe it again because I'm trying to think of what letter it corresponds to in English, or that sound, because we know they're all consonants, the consonantal sound that is associated with it. So what I would, for me personally, I would probably describe it, you could say W, because they'll know what you mean. I'll say it's an upside down M. The reason why I do that, of course, is because I know that this is a Ma. Right. You know, W is easier to say, but I want them to think of the letter that makes the same sound. So I'm going to say it's an upside down M with, like you said, like a long ending or a long stalk, or I might even say an upside down M mixed with a Y. You know what I mean? I might say it like that too. You know? That's how I'd put it. Now that's the ancient Ma. Now give me the Assyrian, if you could, Baba Kusha. Now this one is a funky one as well. That's Tawab, if I may. Here's how I, because that's not wrong, but I'm going to show you how I look at it when I go with the Ma. When I draw the Ma, the important part, of course, we know is it's not supposed to connect, right? Like as you did, because you did do it correct. But I go like this, almost like I'm drawing. Like what would be a way to say that? It's like it's almost no weight, no nothing, huh? Okay, see, give the sister a hand. Most High in Christ. I never thought of it like that. It is something like a sideways D, but where it does not connect. Please do your thing. Where it does not, get the water, brother. Where it doesn't connect at the top. So if you took a D, pause, right? Erased the connection up here and turned it 90 degrees counterclockwise and laid it on his back, again, pause, you'd have something like this. You see? The sister is on the money. 100% on the money. Then, like the brother did, you just add a little, almost like on a lowercase n. There's a word for it. I just cannot remember it because I actually did study. Now I can't remember what it's called. When you study the shape of letters, not calligraphy. I cannot think of the word, but the N. Right, a lowercase n in English has this little stalk up here. Same thing with an M, right? This little stalk thing. Okay? A lot of letters have that. You're going to just attach one of these to this sideways D. You understand? Most High in Christ, the water says, I am going to use that from now on. All right. So yeah, so Yanazar, again, what you did was absolutely correct. You know what I mean? But I was just trying to find a good way Khan. Most High in Christ. And with that little stalk there, you have the Ma. So you can. So you can go ahead and give me the transliteration underneath the water. There it is. All right, next letter. Okay, now how would we describe that one? That's great. That's a great way to describe it. What's a way we could almost describe it to match the sound? Is that possible? Can we do it? Yeah. Yeah. That's it's something of it's like an N with a tail, or maybe you could say backwards N because N is already a funny looking letter, but it's like an N with a tail, and then it corresponds to that. You know, to that sound, if I may. You're absolutely right, brother. If you really look at it, it's so N is like written like this, right? So N is like bop, bop, bop. It's like it's almost like who knows their Roman numerals? Who knows what is this in your Roman numerals? 4, right? Because the V is the 5, then the I is the 1. Since it's behind it, it takes away from this, so it's a 4, right? The N is similar like that as if they're connected. You just do that, and now you got a freaking N. But what if you flip it? What if you do the V first, then the I? That's like a backwards N, right? But what if I take this I and I keep going? Then I got a Na. You understand? Most High in Christ. So, brother, I agree with you. The V part is important. So we can look at it and we can say, you know, it's not just take an N, right? Flip it and keep going. Give it a little tail pause. And you got a Na. All right? Most High in Christ. Now give me the Assyrian if you could, Baba Kusha. Khan. It's essentially like a 3. That's how I would describe it. Huh? Yeah, it's like a cockeyed 3. You know what I'm saying? Like this is Tawab, but you could also like draw it like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like a jagged 3. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you even see it written kind of like this, especially when you see it in the written in the Tanakh, right? It's like a jagged 3. You understand? And there you have it. And that's the Na. But now we've encountered our first letter. Well, really not our first letter. So let's back up a little bit. Some letters have what? Two versions. There's the version of the letter that appears when it's at the beginning or the middle of a word. Then there's a version of the letter that appears exclusively when that letter is at the end of a word. Okay? In the case, interestingly enough, in the case of the Na, which is one of the letters that has that, it's like you taking this and you just dropping this little stand, this little curved stand. Imagine you take that off. And you keep going. You go past the floor. And here you have the Na. Okay? So I'm going to write this right here. Na, so everybody can see. I know it's kind of far down. That's the Na. We also missed another one. The Ka. I'm going to write it down here. Actually, we yeah, but I think when we're Na, I think we'll be fine. It won't even go this far. So I'm gonna just do it right here. The Ka does the same thing. Remember, this is in Assyrian. Salakia, let me make sure I say that as well. This is only in Assyrian. In ancient, there is no second version. There is no difference between a letter, whether it's at the beginning of a word, middle of a word, end of a word, it doesn't matter. Only in the Assyrian are certain letters, you understand, going to have a different shape when they're at the end of a word. The ka is one of them. So you take the Assyrian and do this. You just imagine you drawing the Assyrian, you're drawing it and you go, okay, but I'm supposed to curve, but no, I keep going. And that's the ka. All right? Everybody follow me? Most High in Christ. Next letter, if you could, Baba Kushal, my brother. Again, make sure everybody likes, shares, and subscribes to the ISUPK Durham page, UPK Triangle. You understand? As we, you know what I mean, get into these things, break it down, let's proliferate this truth, you know what I'm saying, and get our language back to our people. So now, that looks like, what is that, Yanazar? Oh, it looks like the laces of a football. That's what it looks like. It looks like the laces of a football. With just 3 laces. That's one way to put it. You understand? Yeah, laces out. You know what I'm saying? Ace Ventura, you got to make sure you got them laces out. You understand? So yeah, I think that's a solid way to describe it, right? Like like laces on a football. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't really look like any letter. It almost looks like something you see in a mathematics class. It does not look like, a letter. Or that. You know what I'm saying? I was always terrible at tic-tac. I cannot win in tic-tac-toe. I can't do it. And it seemed like the most simplest game. I know there's some like cheat code, but I cannot figure it out for the life of me. You understand? But that's a Tawab way to describe that letter, Ak. Now, let's see the Assyrian. Most High, give him a hand, man. That is an absolutely perfect Assyrian Sa. The Assyrian Sa is like almost like a circle. It's a little more, it's not so round, It's not as round. It's more ovalish. And the bottom of it, what I'm saying, is a little flat, like, you understand? It's like a little flat. God. It's just, think of it like a circle, but kind of square at the same, Most High in Christ. It's like a circle, but it's kind of square at the same time. It almost, and if you read it in the Tanakh, it almost looks like a ma. Right? You have to be very careful because it almost looks like a ma at the end of a word, but it's not. It's a little more circular than the ma. And the ma at the end of a word is damn near, we forgot the ma too. Salaki, we gotta, yeah, it's damn near a square. I forgot the ma at the end of a word. Yeah, erase that, the transliteration. Yeah, erase that. Come on, and under it, yeah, draw that. It's like almost like it's like a circular square where the stalk goes over the top to the left, straight over. Make sense? Is that you having a hard time with any of them? Which one are you having a hard time with, sis? The ma? Okay, no sweat. No sweat. Slack, if I may. It's like this is a square, right? This is a square. It's jagged and sharp. But imagine a square that's like round. It's the same shape, but it's like the corners are like rounded. Imagine that, and then I'm actually going to bring this in just a little bit. Understand? And unlike the Sa or the original Ma, where we made it and we had the stalk come up like this, imagine it just comes straight out. Pause. Straight out with like a little, like that. You understand? Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, that's good. But this again, this is the Ma. Good job, brother Tawada. This is the Ma specifically at the end of a word. in the Assyrian. Whenever you see in the middle of a word, you're going to see this. If it's at the end of a word, it's going to look like this. All right? And the sa, so the ma, if I could help illustrate the difference. This is the ma, right? It's like a square with rounded corners, and then the stalk comes out. You understand? Like this. It's a little extreme. It's a little more like this. The sa is going to be more rounded, almost like a circle. You understand? It's a little more rounded than the ma at the end of a word. Okay? Make sense? Most High in Christ. So like I'm gonna draw this. You locked the door? Oh, this brother got the keys. Lock, I'm bugging. Man, Kaparyav. You gotta let bro. I was about to be like, brother, you just let. I thought the brother didn't lock the door. I forgot this brother got a key. Good night, shalom, man. No sweat. So, I'm gonna bring this down on par with these. Ka. It's the ka, right? Okay, ma na sa. Go ahead, brother. Khan. So, I don't think that's correct, brother. No, you too up. I is very easy. The shape of it corresponds to the O in English. Right? It looks like an English O. All right? In the ancient. Now in the Assyrian, it's a little more, funky, but I think we can describe it. How would you describe that? I think that's easy to describe. What you got? Yeah, it's like a little more rounded Y with two top little lines. But it's like a Y. Literally is like a Y. You know what I'm saying? Put the transliteration under it, brother. Also for the sa as well. Mm-hmm. So that's literally gonna be pronounced I. This is how we get the name. It's how we get the end of whose name ends in an I. Yahweh Shai. Right? It is, if I'm not mistaken, it is literally the English word I comes from this. You understand that sound? I. What's next? God. Now it's the pa. That's the ancient pa, right? It almost, what's that like? It's like a J. It's like a little, like a J without the right side. You know what I mean? That's what I would that be fair? Like a J, but you just cut off Salakia. Like you draw a J, and you just say, man, shoo. You just take a knife and just cut this part off, you know what I'm saying, and you left with this. And you got a pa. You understand? That's how I would look at the shape of that letter. Again, we talked about the quadrants of looking at each letter like it's inside of a square or rectangular shape, right? In this sense, you can almost look at it like boom, boom, these are the quadrants. And with this one, there is nothing in this quadrant. It's just, you I'm saying? That's one way you could look at it. But it's like a J with the right side cut off. Okay. Yeah, brother. The water. Now this is a little bit of a doozy. Give him a hand. That brother did that with impeccable ease. The pa in Assyrian is somewhat similar to the ancient, kind of. I think you should be able to guess what letter I compare it to. It's an upside down G. That's how I, describe again. We're talking about the shape of the letter, if I could. So you got a G. Yeah. You got a G. All right. And you just flip it. And then you end up with this. You know what I'm saying? An upside down G. And we all know that G's move in silence, like lasagna. I guess y'all don't listen to Wayne. I don't listen to Wayne myself. I just know he said that in a rap one time, and people think it's like the greatest bar they ever heard. No sweat. Pa, right? Sa, I, pa. What's next? I'm gonna let you handle this, Yanasar, because you know what I mean. You got it. You know what I'm saying? He got the glow. Ooh-wee. Salaki, brother, I gotta stop you. You forgot something.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. You swap. There we go. You see how that brother, how smooth that brother did? But if you could, Baba Kushah, just put it up a little bit. Online with the rest of the Assyrian Khan. You just start, yeah. Mm-hmm. Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ, right? See how the brother did that? So I would describe, how would you describe the Tazah in ancient? Let's start with that one. How would y'all describe that? What would be a good way to describe how you draw it?
L and a Z.
Like a L and a Z. Okay, I can see that. Anyone else? What you got? I hear some humming over there. What you got? I'm glad you said that because I kind of agree. I got an idea. You got something, GP? For the Tazah in the ancient. No sweat. Yeah. What do you think would be a good way to describe that? Like, imagine you got to tell somebody how to draw it. I see that too. I see that. No sweat. Here's how I try to think of the pronunciation and how I can draw that back to how it sounds in the English. So the Tazah, right? There's a za in there. Gyanazar, pass me that the water. Swap. No, I see you. But you see that? You see how that bottom part is a little bit off? I would use that. I would describe it as a straight line with a little Z next to it. like a straight line with a small Z coming out of it. That's how I would describe the tizah. You know what I'm saying? It's literally a line, and then like a tiny Z. You got a tizah, right? But everyone was right. There's different ways you could describe it. I can see, because if you took this and kind of bop, that's like an R, you know what I'm saying? And so on. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to think of the pronunciation and how I can get the person to mentally associate the letters, right? Like in the case of the ma in ancient, we said an upside down M, right? Upside down N. Salakia. In the case of the ka, we said a rounded backward K. You understand? So a line with a small Z coming out of the right side, I think is a good way to put it. And then we have the Assyrian version, which is like what? Mm-hmm. You could say that. No, that's certainly one way. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answer. You know, I would probably say a backward Y with a stand. You literally, so you take a Y, right? So this is a Y. Flip it. Salakia. I'm bugging. Flip it and just put a stand on it. And now you got a tizah, right? All you got to do is add like the lines up top. You know what I'm saying? Salakia. You got a tizah. So I would say a backward Y with a stand. Okay? Or a little, floor or whatever you want to call it. Again, there's no right or wrong answer to it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you think you will illustrate it in the person's mind. You know what I'm saying? And the beauty of it with that is then you can then say, if this is a backward Y with a stand, then when it's written at the end of a word is what? It's still a backwards Y, but I done lost y'all. I'm saying, if this is a backwards Y, right? Salaki. If this is a backwards Y, but we add like a little stand, then what is this one? Or it's still a backwards Y, but without the stand. It just keep going. You know what I mean? You try to. It's tough. It's not easy because these letters are not the same. Right now we're talking about the shape of the letters. So it's not. Even when we say backwards Y, someone like, huh? So you gotta just show them like, okay, it's like. You can even say like a Z with no top, and then there's so many ways. And then you say, so it's like a Y backwards with this little stand at the bottom, but then the at the end of the word, it's no stand. Still a backward Y. You feel me? You know what I mean? So that's one way I would describe it, but you have to find whatever, because these are not English letters. They're never going to be English letters. They're better than English letters. So don't get too caught up in it. Just find if you teaching it, trying to explain to somebody, you find whatever makes sense to you, whatever is just to get them to illustrate it so that way when they go to draw it, they have an idea. So when I say, so after tazah, we got the qua, right? So the qua, if you don't mind, I'm gonna do this one, Yanazar, real quick. No, really, I'm gonna have you finish it out. But the qua, right? So the qua is this. This is the qua in ancient. That doesn't look like any goddamn letter I've ever seen in the English language. So I'm gonna use what the sister said earlier. Now I can say it's a sideways D, pause, with a line that goes straight down. Huh? Or you can describe it as an umbrella to somebody. If that makes sense to you, and when they try to draw it, that's what happens, then Most High in Christ. I would say Again, we'll go back to our quadrants. We'll go back to our square that fits our letter. And we'll look at this and we'll say in the top part of the quadrant, we're going to draw a D on its back. And you see, it's already there. And then a line from the middle of it down. And there we have a qua in the ancient Hebrew. A qua. Now, in the Assyrian, I'm gonna use what Gaparyav said about the other letter. This is a qua in the Assyrian. Gaparyav said earlier, when talking about the ancient Tazah, he compared it to an incomplete R, correct? I would use that to describe the Assyrian qua. That's how I would describe it. Anybody else have any better ideas or any ideas at all? I look at it, it's like, okay, if I draw an R, right? If I draw an R, but I erase this, take that connector away, and I take this away. And just connect this. That's a qua. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. So I would just call it an R and separated R almost. You know what I'm saying? Like you take an R and you just take it away from each other. Take the line away from the rest of it. You know what I mean? I would compare it like that. It's an R, but stuff is just not connected. And it doesn't, this part, doesn't go that far down. You understand? And that's going to be the qua. Right? And now with the Ra, I mean, this is one of the easier ones to remember because it has a very simple shape. Well, how would you describe that? It's a backward slanted 4. It's a backward 4. And you don't even have to, when you see it, you're going to usually see it slanted like that, but even if you see it like this, where it's not slanted, for the most part, the sister said, it's a backward 4. Okay? It's a backward 4. Backward 4. Now, in the Assyrian, I would look at it like, how would you describe this? How would you describe this? Okay. I see you. Or, you know what it looks like, Anna? What do you think? Similar, but no, like a small R backward, but no, it's that rounded kind of thing. See, it's one of them ones, I don't even know how to describe this. It's like, man, you just got to look at the paper for this one. You just got to look at the goddamn Hebrew and just look at it over and over again, and you know what I'm saying, and figure it out. It's rounded, like a backward rounded 7. Yeah, I guess that's the best one I've heard. You got a 7. But if you round it, it's going to be kind of like that. And if you give it like a little top part, but then it kind of like round and comes back in on itself. Hey, look, man, it's a weird letter, right? You can just read the goddamn paper. Leave me alone. You know what I mean? What can I do? Ra, qua, ra. Now this one is easy. Let me get rid of this. Just for now. QADASH. Y'all should be able to tell me what it looks like without even. What? It looks like a goddamn W. In ancient, it is literally like a straight up W. All right? And that's the Shah. Shah. All right? In Assyrian, it's still going to be like a W, but it's just a little more fancy. Like I draw it like this. It's like a bougie W. Like you're doing extra work. Like you're going to start over here. You're going to swoop down and come over to the right. And then you're going to extend up. Pause. Like so. And then you're going to go to the lower left quadrant of this U-shaped thing. And you're going to go kind of diagonally up towards the middle. Like so. And you're going to follow the rest of the little extensions out in that direction. Boom. It's like a bent up fork. You know what I'm saying? QADASH. And we got one more. What's the last letter? The Tha. The Tha in ancient, again, it's like a somewhat incomplete X. So you have to draw an X, but instead of you going boom like that, you know what I'm saying, you kind of drawing it it's almost like you're playing a joke. You just kind of draw a little, the other cross part, you just kind of draw in the upper left quadrant, like boom. And that's the Tha in the ancient. In the Assyrian, again, like the Ra, I look at it like a Ra. So in the Assyrian, I look at it like, imagine a Ra in the Assyrian, but then you give it this little, like that. It's like a Ra mixed with a Ha or a Ka. You understand? Ra Sha Da. Do we have all the, hold up, wait a minute. Nope, we gotta draw the Ka. So I gotta go underneath. This is gonna be like that. 2, 3, 4, 5. Con. Smooth, man. Just like that, man. Give yourselves a hand, man. The alphabet. Ancient and Assyrian. All the corresponding letters, all the corresponding transliterations and sounds, right? And a decent, basic understanding of how to draw them. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully this helped. Go back and watch this video again and again and again. You understand? So we can figure out how to do this on the fly. But before we go on to the next leg, we don't have much time. I actually didn't expect this to take so much time, but Most High in Christ. Before we go to I think the next thing we're going to do, we're just going to go ahead and do the greeting. Now, that actually might take more time. I might save that till next week. We'll do a couple of words beginning with Dot. We won't finish. We'll continue next week. But in the meantime, somebody go ahead and reel off the entire alphabet all the way through for me real fast. Just go ahead and blurt it out, whoever. No matter. Go ahead, brother. Uh-oh, wait. Oh, wait a minute, brother. You might want to slow down. Go ahead. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Give him a hand. No sign of Christ, man. I try to trip you up there, man. No sweat. Next. That means you. Whole thing. Wait. Go ahead. Ka. Go ahead. Ta what? Ta what? Go ahead. She's trying to mix the two letters together. Sai is not a Hebrew word, Hebrew letter. Go ahead. Say what? Qua. Give her a hand. Oh, sorry in Christ, man. She didn't get tripped up either. GP, go ahead, brother. No sweat. Hold up. I don't got nothing I can. Go ahead, brother. You don't need to see it. What you got to see it for? Why you need to see it for? Do it in order. Why you got to see it? You should know it. I'm saying you know the first letter, brother. I know you know the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. You do not need to see it. Go ahead, brother. What's next? You the one that told me I should cover the letters. I was gonna let you live. You said you should cover the letters. So, hey, brother.
No, I was saying cover the letter, but like sound.
That's what I'm doing. Oh, you saying you want to see the symbol? Yeah. Well, brother, the symbols is on the. They up here. You know what I mean? If you want to do that, but I think you know it. So you got Abba. What's next? Come on. Yeah. Okay. No, you're right. I'll let you know. Most High in Christ, give him a hand. That's what it is, man.
I promise I didn't look at it.
No, I know you didn't. That's what it is. No, absolutely. I just wanted to give you a challenge. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is, man. But that's how you do it. So Most High in Christ, man. You know, this always good to brush up on this. You know, you can never, ever, ever study this too much and be familiar with these symbols. The more familiar you are with these symbols, you're going to read that Hebrew when the Sabbath service comes, and you're going to be, you know what I mean? You're just going to reel it off. So, yeah, man, let's keep studying this. Let's keep studying this, man, and get familiar with all of these. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this, if that's Tawab with y'all brothers and sister. So, I like to take a pic of every class in case I ever need to do it again. Okay. So, with that being said, Okay. All right. Let's get a couple of new words. I'm gonna play that game. So we're gonna do four of them. Okay. Please.
About the Syrian Hebrew, I know you went over it one day about like I remember you went into some of the history of this Hebrew I was thinking about. Do you know exactly why it's called Syrian?
Because I know why it's called a Syrian Hebrew, but exactly how these new symbols took over or became what represented our language, I got to get back to you on that part. You understand? But we were in captivity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Now I understand that. Like, we're not Assyrians. You know what I'm saying?
Of course not.
Why?
You got to, okay. We're not Assyrians, but we were in captivity under the Assyrians. So almost look at it like, you ever heard of like Jamaican, like patois, right? It's English. It's English. But what it is a colloquial, which means just a regional slang form of English that niggas in the Caribbean speak. Okay? So just like niggas in America, we speak English, but they call it what? What do they call what we speak? Big L had a song, right? Ebonics. Con. So they say we speak Ebonics. It's still English, right? So, but we're not English. So Assyrian is just to describe this new letter format that we picked up while we were in captivity. You understand? But I'm gonna try to have the full breakdown. I'm gonna try to do a whole class on it of exactly why it happened, how it happened that we adopted these new letters, and how they still exist today. And basically, is the standard when it comes to what is called so-called Hebrew, right? We know that's not really the original Hebrew, but that's what people look at and associate with Hebrew. And we're gonna, I'm gonna do a class to break that down. Tawada, that's a Tawab question. Tawada. All right, so we're just gonna learn a couple of words. Last week we did the ga. Today we will do the da. Let's see. What the heck? No. All right, we got 8 minutes. I need a volunteer. Oh, you sat up. I thought you was about to. I need a volunteer. So you know the game. Go ahead, brother. Okay, so this is not a game, but it's a little exercise that we did last week, right? Basically, 4 tenets of a Hebrew word. You have the transliteration, meaning the English writing out of the word. Then we have the translation, what the word actually means. We have the ancient, and then we have the Assyrian. I only put one up there, and the person who volunteers has to fill in the rest. So for this word, this is the meaning. You have to give me the transliteration of it, the ancient Hebrew word, and the Assyrian Hebrew word written out. Connectors and all, right? You just got to do one. Each person got to do one, and there's 3 of y'all, so somebody might have just... Oh, Most High in Christ, give him a hand. Give him a hand. Most High in Christ, man. No cowards. Yeah. All right, brother. And the one hint that you have is, of course, all of these letters begin with the same, all of these words begin with the same Hebrew letter. It's a word that we say very often when we're reading the Hebrew. In fact, many Hebrew scriptures begin with this word. Oh, you might be on to something. How would you say that in Hebrew? How would you say it in Hebrew? What would be the Hebrew word to say speak unto? Mm-hmm. It is in a common Hebrew phrase. A very common Hebrew phrase has this word in it. Something we say in the UPK often. The water, Ak. Is it? I don't know. Are you sure? Remember, we're dealing with words that begin with the same Hebrew letter. Look on the board and let's see what Hebrew letter we're dealing with today, and ask yourself the question that you just said. It can't be that. It doesn't have to be the whole phrase. It can be one of the words in it. What does the phrase Ayan Debar mean? Hold on. When we hear it, we think of it. If I say Tawada, you say Ayan Debar. As in, like, you're welcome, right? But what does it really mean? We broke it down last week. What does Ayan Debar really mean? Sis. Don't mention it, or don't what? Please.
Don't say it.
Don't speak it. There's nothing spoken. It doesn't have to be Ayan Debar. Ayan doesn't begin with a da. So it gotta be what? It gotta be Debar. Give him a hand. It has to be Debar. The word Debar means to speak. Means to speak. So the name, the high-ranking officer, right, in Chicago, his name is Debar Amath. What does that phrase mean? Debar Amath. Most High in Christ. It means to speak the truth, or the truth is spoken. Salakia, you close. No, but I'm bugging. You are absolutely correct. Give him another hand for me even questioning this brother. Salakia, I'm thinking you right near Syrian. I'm bugging. That is Tawab. Go ahead. Please, that's what you got. You could argue it, but it would still be legible because he did put the connect.
Oh, like the length?
No, there's no connector under the dot. You got to put the connector symbol under the dot. That's what you're talking about, right? It's still no. You twopses. You're right. You have to put it, but it is legible. It's readable without it on that letter. But you're right. You do have to have it. So the water, Most High in Christ, the bar. Now the Assyrian, everyone's favorite. Yeah, just look right here. What the hell is it? Close. It's hard to see on this particular chart, but this top is like straight across. So if I may. So just take this and just kind of go. Kind of. The bar. And this is not the place where you go to get a drink. No, that's Tawab. Khan, that's totally fine. So. But there's a little difference. So now I'm glad you said that. This is the da. This is the ra. So draw what you drew before. Remember when you had written the da before and I changed it? Draw what you originally drew. Give him a hand. That is a ra. That is the bar. That is how you say speak. Most High in Christ. That's what it is. Most High in Christ. The water, brother. Well done. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and just knock out the word debak. Debak, right? Because we're running out of time. No sweat. You got the da. Salakia. You got the da. We got the ba. And of course, we got the kwa. Oh, turn the mic the other way. Debak. Right? In the Assyrian, there goes that da. There goes the ba. And of course, the kwa. Debak. Debak means to cleave or join. All right? Next. You want to do it out? Please. Mm-hmm. 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 No sign in Christ. No sign. No sweat, brother. Oh, give me Salakia. Let me just say, Salakia, I made a mistake. Most High in Christ. Give us a hand. Salakia. Dum means, who's ever heard the word damu? People in Cali might be familiar with this word. A very specific gang uses this word. Blood. Dam means blood. This is the ancient language. That's why you hear words like Damu and things like that now, because thousands of years ago, our people were using these words. Dam means blood. Okay? Let's all finish this last one together. Don't, like the brother said, don't everybody speak at once. How do you say beloved in Hebrew? What you got out? Which is what in ancient Hebrew? Give him a hand. Damn right. Dawada, beloved. Da, wa, da, wa, da, wa, wa, da. Please.
Okay. I understand
Mm-hmm.
that meant his insignia. So now, could a brother do that with his name also, or would that be like?
You can do whatever the hell you want to do.
I just
Now you can't go around telling people that GP is the goddamn symbol of Israel. You can't do that. But if you want to take the God and the pie and make like a symbol, hey, brother, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, I want to ask that because I've never seen anybody in school do it. I wouldn't want
I feel like I have seen a brother take like a letter from their name and put that symbol on like a garment. I believe I've seen that before. So yeah, like brother, if you can do that, you know what I'm saying? It's no different than you putting your name on something. If you got, you know what I'm saying, a jacket or a garment and you put Ga, Pa, Ra, the Ya and the Tha in your name, Gaparyath, on your garment, so you can take your symbols and make a symbol. Like you can, that's on you. But again, you just can't. If somebody says, "Hey, what's that?" You can just be like, "Oh, it's my my name." Don't be like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is the signature of Israel. You know what I mean? It's the new king. You can't do that, but you can put that. You know what I mean? Most High in Christ, man. We did a lot today. Man, clap it up. Clap it up to Wab class. The water for y'all tuning in with us. You know what I mean? We're going to keep bringing it out. We're going to keep, I feel like I'm at camp. We're going to keep, you know what I'm saying, breaking down this language, getting more familiar with it, man. These basics, man, are very, very important. We cannot skip over them or neglect them. Are there any questions before we go ahead and clip it? We're a little over the time. Any questions? Let me check online. Nothing online. Let me check the Facebook. Salakia. Where am I at? Hold up. Judah. La'awi Tuwab, no questions. Most High in Christ. So if there's nothing in the room, all right, and with that, I'm going to pass the class over to Priest and Officer Gaparyath.
Security announcements. We're the ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verses 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Ma'asra, which means tenth in Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation is the Feast of Purim, Salakia. This is the 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month, which is Thursday, February 25th, and Friday, February 26th, 2021. And you can find this in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verses 20 through 31. And just as a reminder to all Akim and Akwathian to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that,